Hello everyone, Frost here, and yes, this is me doing a non-milestone voice reveal. Don't sweat it, I need to explain things in this video. Well, you saw the title, you knew it was coming. We are doing Helldivers Stereotypes. This is an ambitious project of mine, but I wanted to make use of some of the new editing skills of mine, plus some light encouragement from some of my friends. So we're starting off with Primaries and going from there. Of course, obligatory disclaimer, this video is not meant to be taken seriously. This is very obviously a parody of Soundsmith doing the same thing for TF2. I just thought this would be good practice for my voicing skills and editing skills. Same disclaimer here too. Stereotypes do not mean everyone. So don't go into missions and berate somebody for being an asshole because they use the blitzer. More likely than not, they're a good person and don't actually suck at aiming it. Got it? Alright, here we go. This gun is unreliable. It allows you to be incredibly versatile, and thus you don't know what you're going to be in for when you see the standard Liberator being used on any other player. Usually, there is a lot better ways to tell a Liberator user from which one they are, from when they have their secondary out most of the time, when they have a bunch of unlocks, or other stuff like their armor. I remember a time when this thing was the meta, back when the first couple of massive nerfs were roaming about in Helldivers 2. But now, with the other weapons getting massive buffs, this thing fell into obscurity. Doesn't even really deserve it either, it's still a pretty decent AR. Simple, you don't have the super credits for Polar Patriots and preferred Steeled Veterans. Nobody uses this thing if they want to stun enemies anyway. That Helldiver would just use the Pummeler. If you see a concussive player, they likely just got the game and this is their first stagger weapon, and they ended up looking at Steeled Veterans and thinking that that was just a better option for them. Actually, really good against the bots. If you see a Carbine player, they are bot hunter extremists. They will never play the Terminated side and think they are the biggest oil spiller on the planet. They aren't bad either, they're just kind of egotistical at some times. And they could give you tips, however, you're going to get berated instead because, of course, you're a lower level. This weapon is incredibly underused. It lacks proper fire rate and proper stopping power to actually be used by divers who prefer its parent Primaries. If you see somebody who's using the Tenderizer, be prepared for anything, since, like the Liberator, they could be anything. You might think that this is the weapon for people who want a really good stopping power rifle. No, that stereotype belongs to the... There are two types of adjudicator players. Those who use it in auto-fire, and those who use it in single-fire, also known as properly. The auto-fire dweebs are the ones who just unlocked it, and use it like the Liberator while spunking all of their ammo on high armor targets. The single target diver knows the ins and outs of every single weak spot in the game and will actively go for them. They're usually a pretty good blast to be on your team. I'm not sure why you would ever want to use this over the counter sniper. The thing is, this feels like a big gimmick more than it does a marksman rifle. It doesn't even usually shoot like it either. The only stereotype is new player. It's not like the counter is even hard to get. It's one of the first pages in the first war bond. Surprisingly, the only marksman rifle that actually feels like a sniper. That isn't saying much though, since there are only two weapons in that category. Rest assured, when you see a counter sniper player, they're going for the full specialist loadout and won't even use it most of the time, considering they have the material rifle in their loadout. Right in the middle of recording this video, Arrowhead released another marksman rifle, and it is ridiculous. So here's the stereotype for it. Battlefield 1 player. I know it's obvious, but I can tell you anybody who uses this constitution will use it religiously and think they're a World War I German soldier from Battlefield 1. I know this because my friend is this stereotype. It is an SMG. In In fact, it's the only one that feels like an SMG. All the others have weird gimmicks to them that make them very hard to control. If you see a Defender user, they're just some Helldiver running around with a fast-firing SMG and wants some bugs and bots to shoot at. Same thing as the Defender, just with a little sprinkle of minor amounts of ego, because this thing is only available when you end up buying the Super Citizen Pass, so you get people that might be a little flamboyant inside the chat. The better concussive. This thing has a much larger stun effect and can stun even the biggest enemies. If you see a Helldiver using this thing, you know they bought Polar Patriots just for this, and will actively seek to give the enemies the rage of their lives. This guy is a strong, independent diver who does not need any gimmicks to be good at what he does. They do not need any incendiary bullets or futuristic laser grenades, they just need a good old shotgun and some faces to shoot at. The only major difference is that the slugger player just wants a little more kickback in those shots than the person using the Punisher. With the incendiary bonus to a Punisher style gun, you're going to get both the people who like the Punisher and Breaker Incendiary. You usually see people who use the cookout want to try the Punisher's slower approach, but want an incendiary ability for whenever they inevitably suck at the Punisher. The easy pick for people just getting started to the game. Both Breaker and Spray and Play players are fairly new and just trying to have fun without detrimenting too much to the team. The Breaker is a little more general since it has a little higher skill ceiling, so don't be surprised if better players use the Breaker. This weapon got nerfed so much that a certain group emerged just to protest the changes. This weapon is still good though, even if its ammo economy sucks. Anyone using the Breaker Incendiary is likely just going on a nostalgia trip to reminisce how it was before escalation of freedom. These guys are in it for the missions. They're either trying to eradicate as many enemies as possible, or they're trying to silently do the missions and get away with it. Most of the divers that use these are either incredibly obvious about it, or you don't even realize that they have it until the final screen. This diver hates the bots. They either got dragged to the bot front by one of their friends, or needed to complete a personal order on the bot front. They will spare no time in doing everything, blowing the map up, and then getting out of there. You are just the most fun person on the team. Usually they are new players trying to make the best out of their surroundings, but if that isn't enough, when they do sometimes do something by accident, they will tell the whole team to get their act together. Even though that makes no sense whatsoever, and it's better for you to be using the Punisher if you can actually aim, you team-killing piece of shit. Even with buffs, it's hard to find people who use this weapon unironically. There isn't much of a stereotype to this weapon other than the new player that is trying it out and is eventually going to find and start maining the... This gun is a part of the meta, and actually for a good reason. I mean, everyone has used this at some point because it's just so good. Heating and cooling on this type of weapon is ridiculous. If you see a single player, then they likely know this and will be one of the best teammates you'll ever see, regardless of side. This gun, like the Cyclone Liberator Penetrator, has been good for the entire time it's been in Helldivers 2. The second most common primary, other than the Purifier. If you see a Scorcher player, they likely swap between this and the Purifier, depending on the mission, and it will actually be pretty tactical. No shit, because it's the hardest weapon to get in the game. This weapon used to be a heaping pile of garbage considering the Polar Patriots when it first came out. However, in the newest update, they changed that, and now it's one of the best energy weapons in the game. A Purifier player knows this and will substitute it for the railgun whenever possible, and usually carry a heavy machine gun on their back in their stratagem slot for horde clearance. This guy is the opposite to the Plasma Punisher. This guy hates bugs. They will actively bring the whole flame-based strategy to the round. The first maxed war bond is Freedom's Flame, and they are the person who will jokingly put on firebomb hell pods for defense missions with their friends. I know this because I'm this idiot. I'm this stereotype. Very early metal weapon. This thing used to be the only weapon that had a reliable medium armor penetration, and that led to a lot of players using it against the bots. Now this thing feels like it get overshadowed by the Diligence, Counter Sniper, and now Constitution, so there isn't really a purpose to use it anymore. A player using this thing is very nostalgia-sided and just wants to dominate it and be buffed and make it as good as the others. Please, Arrowhead, make this thing have heavy armor piercing and my life is yours. Well, that seems to be all of them until the Order War bond comes out, and I'm probably going to have to make an update to this later. Anyway, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the things I am supposed to say for you to do. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later, and bye.